Won't somebody vaccinate our children? There are marginal benefits and considerable profits, but mostly marginal benefits. Hey, 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 you 6 million awakening wonders. Thanks for joining me on this voyage towards truth and freedom. There is a limitless light within you and within me. And if we can make this connection, perhaps we can finally subvert the systems of domination that seek to destroy us. Turn on the notification bell right now because the algorithm is our enemy now. They want you watching mainstream tripe, not the neat gear that we serve up, rack up in sweet lines for you every day. Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. We got a fantastic story that sort of tries to say that drugs are good, but also bad in a peculiar way. You know that child vaccines do have an impact, but the nature of that impact has been discussed, debated, criticised, and at points dismissed. Albert Bourla, wish I was a bit taller, CEO of Pfizer, he was very, very keen for everyone to take vaccines. Not what you thought for money. No, he wants to help people. He likes helping people so much that he just became CEO of Pfizer. He was obsessed with helping. Let's have a look at the way that the reporting on the efficacy of vaccines has changed in the last 2 years. Surprising stuff. 100%, good, that's good, 100%. Might as well take it. If something's 100% effective, take it. 100%, 100%. Ah, it's 99% effective. That's almost just 1%, less than 100. Still effective, isn't it? 99% chance you're going to take that. You're going to take that any casino in the world, aren't you? Right, 90%, okay, 97, 98, 97, still nearly 99. It's nearly 100%, nearly. Right, so 89%, 96, like 89, still very high. Okay, it's more or less, we're pretty sure that it's effective. Like, at some point you start to think, what kind of profit's involved? Oh, the profit, that's 100% effective. That percentage ain't changed. Alright, it's 3/4, roughly 3/4 effective, 3/4 effective. It's over 50% effective. Take 2 of them, you're at 100. It's nearly 50% effect. Why would you not take something that's nearly 50%? If you've got a 50-50 chance of an aeroplane not crashing, if you're anything like me, you're on that flight because you might be getting a holiday. It's nearly 1/3 effective. You might need a booster.
You might need another shot. We've got to make sure we clarify that with people. It has nothing to do whether or not it's effective.
You can't just take one vaccine, hope it'll be 100% effective. You did say it was 100% effective. We said a lot of things.
We know it's highly effective.
You got to trust Fauci. He didn't get where he is today by telling lies. Comments? Yeah, listen, these vaccines, talk to your doctor. You've banned that. Oh. So there you go. The narrative has altered somewhat over the past couple of years, but how did we get here? Pfizer's CEO, Albert Bourla, has been wrapped by the UK's pharmaceutical watchdog for making misleading statements about children's vaccines. Dr. Albert Bourla used an interview with the BBC last December to claim that there is no doubt in my mind that the benefits completely are in favour of vaccinating youngsters aged 5 to 11 against COVID-19. You can't use your own mind as a reference point for something that's apparently objective. Hold on a minute. You're going to need the absolute truth on this. Let me go in my mind. Money, greed, life of indoctrination, part of the system. Do as you're fucking told. He argued that COVID in schools is thriving, adding, this is disturbing. Significantly, the educational system, and there are kids that will have severe symptoms. Oh my God, my kids, I love my kids. Well, give them a vaccine. What percent effective are they? They're literally every percent effective. Don't watch this video, or at least just watch the first bit. The interview was published on December the 2nd before the vaccine had been approved approved by Britain's medical regulator for this age group. Why would they approve it when there is so much inquiry? Could there be any other agenda? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. Shortly after the article's publication, a complaint was submitted to the pharmaceutical watchdog, the Prescription Medicines Code of Practice Authority, PMCPA, alleging that Dr. Bourla's remarks about the children's vaccine were disgracefully misleading and extremely promotional in nature. But that's weird, because I remember everyone saying, follow the science. What do we do now with the science? Could you stop following it? Stop following the science now. Leave the science alone. There is simply no evidence that healthy school children in the UK are at significant risk from the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and to imply that they are is disgracefully misleading, they said. Listen, just because I wear stupid hats, it doesn't mean I'm an idiot. I'm actually paying close attention to what's going on, and I know you are as well. Let me know in the comments, let me know in the chat if you're noticing how we're cycling through these stories, how you're being asked to ignore information that just a couple of months ago you weren't even allowed to or permitted to say. So what does that tell us about the future? What it tells us about the present is stay awake, stay focused. They've created so much fear that at this point people are going to be sort of led, biased. We've been so conditioned, indoctrinated, I'd have to say lied to. There are still elements of this story that can't be discussed on this platform. That's why we're over on Rumble. Join us there every day. In September 2021, the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunisation, JCVI, had advised against a mass rollout for children aged 12 to 15, saying the margin of benefit was considered too small and citing the low risk to healthy children. But less than a fortnight later, ministers gave the green light for youngsters to be given a single dose of the Pfizer BioNTech jab. Now, you have to question whether that was for economic reasons or health reasons, don't you? Then you have to question whether the whole thing, I mean, let's not get into conspiracy theories. What's the point? You don't need to. You can just look at the evidence with your own eyes. You can just see what's been happening and then determine for yourself, oh, these people, what have they got at heart? Our best interests or profit? So you can look at Pfizer's profits this year and Moderna's and Johnson & Johnson's, and then you can look at the efficacy of the vaccines, and then you can use your own mind. I don't care what you think. You're welcome here regardless. We just want to give you the information. A code of practice panel convened by the PMCPA found that Pfizer had breached the code in a number of different ways. There's a code, they're just breaching it from every angle, including misleading the public, making unsubstantiated claims, and by failing to present information in a factual and balanced way. The information was not factual, it wasn't balanced. That means they skewed it in one direction. The claims were unsubstantiated and they misled people. They shouldn't be allowed to do that job anymore. Imagine if we did this. We're not allowed to do this on fucking YouTube. You get strikes if you make a marginal error. We're not actually making medicine and suggesting the government mandate it to people. Oh my God, what's happening? Pfizer appealed against the findings. Hey, how dare you say we're imbalanced and lying? Superman is my dad, and he'll duff you up if you say that. Appealed against the findings, arguing that these remarks were based on up-to-date scientific evidence. Up-to-date scientific evidence? What can't speak, can't lie, can rely on this, and could be substantiated by the publicly available independent benefit risk assessments. Earlier in November, an appeal board met to consider the arguments. The breaches of the code relating to misleading the public, making unsubstantiated claims, and the lack of balance were upheld. Well, so they definitely did do that.
You talk about, there's a great story, we don't have time to get into it.
Here is Bourla getting his balls licked on the television in what passes for news on the mainstream. That's why you have to turn on the notification bell and subscribe, otherwise this is the shit they'll feed you.
When you found out the efficacy of the vaccine, you gather everybody on a Sunday morning, and you guys would have been happy it was 50 to 70% effective, and it was
95.6%.
We were so happy it was 95.6% effective. Sadly, it went to 92, 91, 80, 76, 50. But for that bit at the beginning, we were so happy. And that's the bit that we put on the news.
95.6. All right, I'm a Pfizer girl, just saying. I'm not just saying that because you're here.
It's not a football team. It's not a band. It's not a country. It's a business. And a very, very profitable one that's been given considerable support by the media and the government.
We're back 7:40 with In Depth today, and this morning we're focusing on COVID and kids.
Okay, according to an alarming new study conducted by New York State, Pfizer's vaccine, while 48% effective...
Oh, it's 48%. I thought it was 96%. Oh, that's interesting. All the Today Show has to do is become the Yesterday Show, and then it's a conspiracy theory show.
...at reducing hospitalizations in kids 5 to 11... is not very effective in preventing infection.
Yeah, in fact, in December and January, it dropped sharply.
Oh, dropped sharply. Or maybe the information we were given in the first place when it was convenient wasn't fucking true.
From 68% to just 12%.
12%?
That's the effectiveness against infection. So what does it all mean for your kids, your family?
It's a considerable drop, isn't it? How do you do that? How do you follow the science and end up there? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. The spokesperson for Pfizer said they are committed to the highest level of integrity in any interaction with the public. That's weird though, isn't it? Because it's simply not true. It's been proven twice. In the UK, we have always endeavoured to follow the principles and letter of our industry code of practice throughout. Is that code of practice make a profit at all and any cost? Yeah. I didn't know you worked for Pfizer. Do you notice whether in politics or in commerce, people just say what you want to hear? It doesn't matter if it's true or not because no one's got any values or principles. We'll make that Saudi Arabia, we'll make them pariahs. Right, you've won the election. Yeah, can we have some oil, please? Do you want some weapons? Right, we care about nothing except integrity. It would be terrible to make a profit from this vaccine. Have you made a profit from this vaccine? Yeah, biggest profit ever, actually. But what about that thing you said? Don't matter. Throughout the pandemic, our communications have been focused on providing clarity regarding the progress of our science and supporting transparent scientific exchange in the interests of public health. What about that thing that's been kicked off into 75 years in the future? And when you get to 75 years in the future, you will have clarity and transparency. That's after your 150th booster. In the US, Sludge has revealed that in 2021, as Americans consumed record amounts of vaccines, the drug industry's chief lobbying group surpassed $609 million in revenues, a new record. In February, Pfizer forecast that its revenue this year will grow to a total between $98 billion and $102 billion, the highest estimate the 173-year-old pharmaceutical company has ever given for annual sales. What coincidence? While they've been helping us with all of their scrutiny and scruples, they've actually earned money, so good news all round, really. In summer 2020, as COVID vaccines moved ahead at warp speed, the companies behind them promised they wouldn't make much money on them. Yeah, I remember that. Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca both promised to sell their vaccines on a non-profit basis. Johnson & Johnson even committed to charging a single price worldwide, rather than charging countries like the United States more. Pfizer chairman Albert Bourla was emphatic. His company was developing a COVID vaccine for the good of humanity, not for money, he told Time magazine in July 2020 when it was convenient to do so and he wouldn't be held to that statement in later years. This is not business as usual, he said. If you were calculating return on investment, we would never do these things. Biggest profit ever! Biggest profit ever! We were discussing that back in March, what that means to human lives, to the economy of the world, and our economy. Biggest profits ever! Biggest profits ever! So it was a must that we take those measures. Well, thanks for that, Albert. Thus, Pfizer would not overcharge for the mRNA vaccine it was developing with the German company BioNTech, Bourla said. We are going to charge governments a very, very nominal value, he said. Because Pfizer would charge so little, it believed governments should give its shots free of charge to all citizens, he said. Asked directly if Pfizer intended to profit, Bourla said, we will make a very, very marginal profit at this stage. Only if the margin is all the way around the universe and back to the other side of the margin, because it's the biggest margin they've ever bloody had. So what do you think about follow the science now? What do you think about the efficacy of these vaccines now? What do you think about these shifting statistics? What do you think about the censorship? What do you think about the inability of your government to say, hey, how about a massive windfall tax on those profits? What do you think about proper regulations of businesses like that they ought to, particularly in a health crisis, be held to the promises and pledges they made when they knew it was the right thing to say? Shouldn't you stick to those promises when it's the right thing to do? Have you noticed there's a cost of living crisis going on right now? And yet there's money swirling around in big pharma companies, big tech companies, energy companies. What a crazy coincidence. If only there was something that could be done. Maybe vote for the other party. Perhaps they'll do something. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. If you enjoyed this video, have a look at either of these. Remember, turn on the notification bell and subscribe. It's the only way you can stop yourself being blinded by the lies that they bombard into your mind to keep you from awakening. Here, we want you awakened. We want you connected. We want you to stay free.